All right, good afternoon, evening, everyone. Meteorologist Jeff Edmondson here. We've been tracking these storms just starting to develop across the North Metro and now moving into the heart of the Twin Cities Metro. We have two different warnings across the Twin Cities Metro. For both of these areas, we could see wind gusts up to 60 or even up to 70 miles an hour. And the strongest part of the storm cell right now is the one that's over the Southwest Metro, where we could see wind gusts close to 70 miles an hour from that storm. Our intern James here is sitting right next to me. James, what was the wind speed or the speed of that storm again?
Sure, it is moving east at 25 miles an hour.
Okay, so 25 miles an hour for that storm. Let's track it here. Let's give you a time to arrival for areas into in the portions for the Southwest Metro. So at 25 miles an hour, it is really right now moving into Chaska and Eden Prairie, but we're also going to see this move into to other areas here very shortly. So moving east, we'll give you a time here, and here's some of the times to arrival for the South Metro. 70 mile an hour wind gusts, maybe some large hail with this storm. In Edina here pretty soon. Really, it should be already pretty dark outside right now. Bloomington at around 6 o'clock, Savage at 6:08, Cedar Grove at 6:18, and Egan at 6:23. Now, this line of thunderstorms exists and continues all the way down to the south and to the north. Let me show you here what it looks like on our radar over the last 2-hour loop. You can see how quickly the storm is really developed and is moving to the east. So it's a fairly healthy storm. We also have the storm looking fairly strong right now in Polk and St. Croix counties into western Wisconsin, where we could also see 60 mile an hour wind gusts and also possibly some large hail as well. So that storm is moving at the same speed, and there's some times to arrival for areas in western Wisconsin. So if you are in that area, get ready for some high wind gusts to come in. The winds have been pretty intense in front of the storm. You can see on radar, you see this area that's this light green color right here? That's the leading edge of the storm. That is the area where it's called the outflow boundary, where we have the highest wind gusts ahead of the storm. And we have that trailing all the way down to the south along the kind of leading edge and gust front, essentially. This is like the gust front or the outflow boundary along that storm line. So that's where a lot of the activity is right now, kind of in that zone. That's where the high winds could be. And then, of course, the heavy rain and maybe the hail can come in too. In terms of looking at the hail, the radar, it does estimate that there could be some large hail inside of the storm. The storm that's moving close to Eden Prairie could contain hail, maybe even around quarter size or even close to an inch in diameter. So some pretty large hail that could be moving right over Shorewood right now and into Chanhassen here fairly shortly. Also near Minnetonka and into Eden Prairie. So we're looking forward to some very heavy rain and some possibly some hail moving over the Shorewood area and Minnetonka area and near Excelsior as well. Now this storm, you can see how the radar is just getting a new scan and it's updating, so we're getting some new data here. It's still moving to the east at 35 or 25 miles an hour with winds possibly up to 70 miles an hour from that storm. Let me know what you have too, by the way, in the comment section if it's starting to rain in your area. I love to see that report. I'm looking at them right here, so it's good to see if we're getting anything to happen. Also, if you see any hail, let me know. If you have any damage from the high winds, let me know. Don't forget to put your location in that report too, because I don't know where we're talking about. So we have two warnings right now, one until 6 o'clock for areas in Carver and Hennepin County, and then the one for another about 6 minutes for spots into western Wisconsin for St. Croix County and also Polk County. The storm in the South Metro is looking fairly strong. It continues all the way down to the south through Belle Plaine and near Le Sueur. You're going to see the winds pick up very soon in Le Sueur and New Sweden. It's going to be a little intense. Not as bad in Sleepy Eye and Springfield, as you're just seeing a lot of thunder and lightning, but not as much of a chance for severe weather. We could see severe weather on the leading edge of the storm line as it moves in, as it's just developing. There's a lot of heat and humidity in the atmosphere right now to allow these storms to be strong. So that's going to be the main threat as these storms move in. Here's a look at the radar once again. You can see the line of storms right now over the central part of the metro. We have very heavy rainfall coming down right now here in Golden Valley. Let me switch over to our Skycam here. This is our Golden Valley sky camera here. And you can see the rain is really coming down right now. So it's going to make traffic very slow into this evening for the evening commute. I'm imagining if you have someone waiting for you to come home right now. Let me load my traffic map here. This will take a second or two. We'll see very slow traffic right now. Look at that. The entire stretch of 494 in the West Metro was basically stopped because of the rain coming in, and also you can see how the rain is affecting other roads too. So it's not going to get any better for a little while until we get this rain to move through, and that's not going to happen for a little while. Here's a look at radar once again, where we have that storm cell that's moving through Stillwater right now and into western Wisconsin. We also have that line that continues down through North St. Paul and into Roseville. Looks pretty impressive right here too. Look at this little spot here that's in the South Metro right now. We're seeing rainfall rates in this area of around 2.74 inches an hour. So really heavy rain that's coming in with this line of storms across the South Metro through this, or South Minneapolis rather, in the last 30 minutes. Here's a 30-minute loop. Look at how quickly it's moving in. So pretty intense line right there. We're going to keep a close eye on this spot right here because we could see maybe some more development and some more intensity in this area here too, in North Richfield and South Minneapolis and into eventually West St. Paul. So I'll keep a close eye on that. The warning though, which the storm is starting to move out of the warned area, it's almost moved through the entire warned area. We still have the heavy rain just starting to move into Eden Prairie right now and also near Savage and Prior Lake. We'll see that move in fairly soon. Looks like it's north of Shakopee, but not too much north. So likely seeing the rain and intensity of that high winds picking up into Shakopee here at the moment too. So a lot of activity moving in as it's starting to come through. Cassandra says just starting to downpour in Stillwater. Thanks for that. Hail in Plymouth. What about winds? Also, there could be some hail, but if it were to happen in Plymouth, it should have already happened. The hail risks right now aren't looking too good for Plymouth. For that warned storm, we could see quarter-size hail. For that area of energy that I was showing you in South Minneapolis, I'm going to watch that because it looks like maybe there could be some pea to dime-size hail close to St. Louis Park, looking at our hail estimator right here. So this is all once again moving this direction, kind of to the east and southeast right now. So that's what we're seeing with that. We're not seeing much rotation in this storm. You can see there's not really a lot. Probably just some high winds. That's why it's registering high south of Lake Minnetonka. But mostly it's really going to be a high wind event type of night or a night where there's some hail. Now it looks like there's a new warning for areas into Carver and Scott County until 6:30 with winds at 60 miles an hour possibly and hail 3/4 of an inch or smaller. So the hail isn't going to be the biggest threat from this storm cell, but we do have an area that is including Chaska and Prior Lake where we could see some high winds and hail. James, is this moving at the same speed?
No, it is actually moving east at 30 miles an hour.
30, okay, thanks. Let's trace this one here. There's some of your times to arrival for that new storm, and then we'll trace all the other storms too. I'll do that right after this. Spring Lake at 6 o'clock, Prior Lake 6:03, Orchard Garden at 6:12 for that individual storm cell there. Let's trace this right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to follow kind of the zone where there's that leading edge and where the gusts are going to be in the next little bit. So here's some of those times to arrival for areas into the south and east metro. Woodbury at, really it should be getting pretty intense in Woodbury right now. Egan at 5:52. St. Croix Beach at 5:56, Ember Grove Heights close to 6 o'clock, also Glover, Minnesota at 6:01 too. So we're going to see that pick up in areas across the East Metro. Let me extend that out a little bit so we can get a better idea for some other communities as well over the next hour and 15 minutes what the time to arrival. Hastings at 6:32, River Falls at 6:39. So once again, Lakeville at 6:12. So you can see how the storm is evolving and moving over time. Here's a last hour loop. Let me clear out some of the stuff here so we can see what's going on. This is the last hour. We're getting very heavy rain coming with us too. Precipitation rates right now are quite intense. Areas of purple, what is that? Purple and white is, yeah, a lot. Like 4 inches an hour. Thankfully, it's moving at a pretty good speed where we're not seeing, hopefully, a big threat for flash flooding. But right now, still some very intense downpours, which is going to slow down the traffic and your commute around town this evening, or your loved ones that may be coming home from work they're going to run into a lot of traffic because of this. So probably best for them to hunker down and to wait it out, because you're not going to have to wait long if you are waiting this out. Let me show you the edge, or the end of the storms. When are the storms going to come to an end? So I'm tracing the back line of the storms. Now this is assuming the heavy downpours. It still may be raining, but here's a look at the times when it'll end. So around 6:06 in Plymouth, it should really stop downpouring. Through downtown Minneapolis around 6:30, 6:45 in St. Paul, Lakeville at 7 o'clock. So that's when the downpour should end, assuming it moves at the speed that it's moving now. It'll change a little bit, so give it a 30-minute kind of rough window on that, because that does tend to change a little bit. The storm has ruined the parade in Maple Grove. That's too bad to hear, Bonnie. Thanks for the update, though. The Twins game at 7 o'clock. The storm may be moving out. However, there may be more thunderstorms redeveloping on the backside of this line. The microcast isn't really doing too good of a job here with the storms, but there is a chance for some showers and storms going into the Twins game tonight, so that could affect the game. Right now, they're getting heavy rainfall. That field can take some heavy rain and drain really well. So I don't believe that this will cause a problem, assuming that this can move out. But it could cause a problem if we have another storm that moves into the area. Taking a beating right now, Angie says, in Minneapolis. Starting to rain in East Bloomington. Thanks, Donna, for that. Someone's asking me to come back to Hampton Roads, Virginia. Yeah, I should come back and visit sometime. Thanks, Carla. What about St. Anthony, Sabrina asks. In St. Anthony, you really don't have a big threat for high wind gusts or hail. However, you do have some very heavy rain coming down right now, and that's going to continue for a little bit longer. Here we are in St. Anthony right here, zoomed right in for you, and the rainfall rate in your neighborhood is about 5 inches an hour, so it's really coming down hard. But it's not going to last for an hour, so we're not going to get 5 inches, at least from this storm cell. Now, we could see more storms later on tonight, James, and we could see maybe 5 inches in some spots. Hopefully not. We had 6.5, 7 inches of rain that fell in Mora, north of the Twin Cities, yesterday. So it's not likely that we'll see that, but it is a possibility too. We will see some heavy rainfall. If you feel free to have any questions about the storm, feel free to post those in the comments. I'm going to keep looking through those here. Belinda is in the studio getting ready for the 6 o'clock. We're going to continue our newscast here, or our weather coverage at 6. In Mankato, Stacy, you're asking what's going on in Mankato. Yes, you're going to get hit with some storms, but I don't believe you're going to. Well, no, I can't say that. They could strengthen. We'll have to wait and see, because they're just starting to develop in your area. Mankato at 6:42, so we're less than an hour away from the storms arriving in your area, Mankato. I'm not certain on if they could be severe or not. There is a potential for that. You are in a slight risk for strong storms. High winds are the main threat. The slight risk goes from the north metro all the way down to the south, almost to the Iowa border. Kind of does the Iowa border for western Minnesota. So we could see some strong storms in your area. So stay tuned. Right now, no, it doesn't look too bad, but we'll have to watch that. We'll have to watch and see how these storms are evolving. So that'll be something to watch. Good question, though. Scandia has hail, strong winds, trees breaking, and things flying around patio furniture. Thanks, Trish. How big was the hail, Trish? Can you put that into comments? I'm going to keep looking for that. How large was the hail in Scandia? That's good to know. Raining cats and dogs in St. Louis Park. Owatonna tonight and tomorrow. Cindy, Owatonna, we'll see some storms tonight. Moving in here in the next probably 2 hours. We'll have showers and storms continue tomorrow, probably even into the afternoon. They should not be severe tomorrow during the day. The best chance for severe weather is going to be for tonight, and then we'll see that chance for severe weather end overnight as the storms move through. There is a severe thunderstorm watch in place. That's these counties that are in that pink color right there. The watch goes until midnight tonight. So the threat for severe weather should end essentially by midnight tonight. That's what we're looking at there. We do not have a warning anymore in western Wisconsin, but we still have 2 warnings in the southwest metro. One goes for another 10 minutes in Hennepin and Carver County. Another one includes Scott County and Carver County for areas south, so Carver, Chaska, Prior Lake. That goes until 6:30. The main threat will be for 60-mile-an-hour winds. Let's see. If you have any hail reports, let me know. Hugo, getting flooded roads. Thanks for that. How bad did it get in Andover? Did not get any reports of severe weather in Andover, Kelly, so I would assume just heavy rainfall, thunder and lightning, but it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Forest Lake area. Let's see. Forest Lake is starting to quiet down. You're starting to see the storm come to an end, so it's looking pretty good. Here's a look at the last hour. It was worse an hour ago, and now it's a lot better. So you're seeing it ease back. However, you've gotten a lot of rainfall. Our model, or our radar rather, estimates that you've seen rain close to, in Forest Lake, around, yes, I know that's road 61, 2.5 inches possibly of rain in Forest Lake. I should see how much rain. How much we get in the KARE 11 backyard here? I got my weather station here at my house in the North Metro, an inch. No, I'm sorry, 1.3 inches. And then in the KARE 11 backyard, wow, it's 68 degrees now in the backyard.
Wow,
look how much it cooled off.
A big cool down.
We have seen an inch, 0.94 inches of rain, which is great. We needed the rain. It's coming down a little hard and heavy, but we need this rainfall. So we're getting a good amount of rain right now coming through the metro. You can see how the radar estimate for precipitation is a little bit behind sometimes. I think it's doing an okay job. It says a half an inch, but our weather station did measure an inch. It's coming down very heavy right now. So it's kind of hard for the radar to keep up with that. But that's a look outside right now on our camera. And we're going to see more and more showers and storms moving through the area. Look at all of the lightning too. This is all the lightning in the last 15 minutes. So for the Twin Cities Metro, we just turned on the lightning. We've seen approximately, and let it think, it's counting each strike. Maybe I could count it faster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Come on. It's a computer. It should know how to count. It should compute. Look at this thing, everybody. It can't even count how many lightning strikes. It's too many. It doesn't even know. Wow. Okay, let's try it another way here. Let's try it like this. Let's try it another way. See, that's why I like Facebook Live, because we can have technical difficulties and stuff like this, and it's okay. Nope. No, see, precipitation rate. It's not seeing the right thing. So sometimes I can get it, sometimes I can't. It gets a little finicky when there's a lot of stuff going on with warnings and things like that. But we're getting a lot of lightning in this area. But it can't count right now. It shows us what time it is, but it doesn't know how to count. I would probably guess a few hundred lightning strikes. So just looking at how intense that is on the screen, that's pretty remarkable. So this is a pretty intense electrical storm essentially that's moving through right now, and it's not going to let up for a little while. We still have heavy rain coming down in the backside of this thing in Corcoran and into Plymouth as well, and through Minnetonka. Looks like we have some more intensity building up south of the metro. We could maybe see another warning here. So stay tuned if you're in Jordan. Belle Plaine, you probably will see wind gusts around 30 miles an hour or so ahead of this storm as it moves in, maybe even higher. Here's a look at the time to arrival for the South Metro. Pick out your location. Lakeville, I can see you're on there at 6:35. So we have that. Let's trace this out now for new areas in the southern Twin Cities Metro. And I'm not going to draw the line right along the edge of the heavy rain. I'm going to put it in between the gust front and that, because that's when it kind of starts to really pick up. Here's a look at the times to arrival for areas in Inver Grove Heights, Apple Valley, Cottage Grove, Hastings at 6:30 now. So we're updating the times a little bit here. These times are adjusting just a little bit. That's what happens with when we track these storms. Whoops, let me redraw that one here. Got to give yourself a little buffer on the screen. And this is going due east. This is the next hour. So there's some of the towns that'll be in the path of this storm as it moves to your east. So that's what we're looking at right now for the leading edge of the storm. The question may be on your mind of when is it going to end. So this line that I'm drawing here is the back edge of the storms. So when is the heavy rain going to end? This is the next 2 hours for some of the bigger towns and some of the bigger cities. So if you're in one of these areas, kind of interpolate a little bit. But St. Paul, it should come to an end. The heavy rain should come to an end around 7 o'clock. Hastings around 8 o'clock. Egan 7:15. There still will be some showers, maybe some thunderstorms developing on the back edge of this thing. But in terms of this front line, that's the time for when it'll come to an end. That's what I'm seeing right now. 2 inches in White Bear Lake. Thanks, Nancy, for that report. Into Alexandria, Stephanie, I'm not seeing anything in your area. You're looking fine. You're going to be too far north for the storms. So you're looking good. Right now, Rochelle, nothing behind the storms, but we will probably see more storms develop overnight tonight and continue into tomorrow. The storm is moving, Susie, at about 25 to 30 miles an hour. It's no longer dry in Bloomington. Thanks, Cody. Yeah, it's no longer dry. It was dry. It was parched out there. Let's see. I'm kind of scrolling back to see if there are any questions. I kind of missed it because we were dealing with that goofy lightning thing that was trying to count and it couldn't count. It didn't know how to count. I'm glad I knew how to count in elementary school. This is our intern James, by the way, here on the on what is that, the right side of me? Yeah, hey, and he's helping us out. Belinda and I helping us out with the weather this summer and also for tonight. Have we have any new updates on from
Nothing
weather service or
from
anything?
the weather service right now. Actually, we do just have a special weather statement.
Okay, let's see what's going on there.
We got wind gusts upwards of 50 miles an hour. Pea-sized hail is possible.
Okay, for where?
These storms moving through St. Paul right now.
St. Paul. Okay.
Yep. Also
Perfect.
includes Twin Cities, Edina, especially those south of the metro area.
Got it. Okay. There we go. So that's the latest from the Weather Service. So gusts close to 50 miles an hour. Not looking at a threat for tornadoes. I saw that question in there too. Not looking much like a tornadic threat for this evening, but high winds certainly are the possibility as this line moves right over the Twin Cities metro. I'm seeing some of your questions here. If you have a question, feel free to put in the comments. I'm trying to keep up with it, but it's going so fast that I can't scroll all the way up. We have 447 comments here, and I can't keep up.
Power outages as well.
Power out in Minnetonka. Yep, look at that. I have power in Minnetonka, but someone doesn't have it. So it kind of depends. Yeah, I have some family in Minnetonka, and I know parts of Minnetonka will have power outages and other parts won't, and some parts won't have it for a while. I grew up in that area, so yeah, I know how that works. That's frustrating, especially when the humidity is still thick. Hopefully you can get your power soon. Could be from a tree taking down a power line because there were some high wind gusts ahead of this. There is a warning on the storm for another 2 minutes. That does include the Southwest Metro, Minnetonka. The worst part of the storm has moved through Minnetonka. The worst part of the storm has moved through Eden Prairie and Bloomington. But we do have some very intense rain coming down right now into Prior Lake. I'm going to switch this radar over to this view here because I want to focus in on how intense the storms are for St. Paul right now. Could see wind gusts close to 50 miles an hour in St. Paul as that leading edge moves in. Here's some times to arrival for the neighborhoods in St. Paul: Maplewood, Woodbury, St. Paul Park, Lake Elmo. Well, Lake Elmo, it's really coming down right now, so that's a little off. But for Woodbury, it's really going to pick up here in the next 11 minutes. Our newscast is just about to start here, so if you want to tune in, have the TV going, keep your phone going on Facebook Live, you can do that too. I'm going to keep going here because we do have a couple active warnings out right now for parts of the metro. And I want to keep you up to date, especially if you're losing power too, because you may not be able to get the TV turned on right away with your generator if you have one. So your phone is probably your only way to see us right now. Into Edina and the Southwest Metro, the worst part of the storm has moved through. You can see the warning has just ended for Hennepin County. We still have that warning for Scott County for another 30 minutes. But the storm is moving in a little bit quicker than that. So I believe we'll see the worst of the storm specifically into this warned area for Prior Lake in the next 20 minutes. So Apple Valley at 6:17. Let me redraw that for Apple Valley. I don't think that's right. Let me give you another time. 6:15. Yeah, I guess so. So in the next 15 minutes, it'll really start to pick up in Apple Valley. Here's a couple other towns and cities, your neighborhood maybe, ahead of the storm. If you're in Lakeville right now, it's dry, it's humid, it's hot. There's a gust about to blow through your neighborhood, and the gust will probably be close to around 40 miles an hour. There could be another gust that could be higher than that. But look for that to move in the next couple minutes, and then the rain to arrive into Lakeville here in about, let me see, 30 miles an hour. We're going to change the time to absolute. 625. It's 12 miles away from you right now. But that leading edge, that roll cloud, or not, I'm sorry, not roll cloud, shelf cloud, is probably right over your heads or maybe a few minutes away. So that might be kind of interesting. Our camera that looks over downtown Minneapolis is black right now, so I don't know what happened there. Maybe it got hit by a power lightning.
Yeah.
It's blacked out.
Will there be one on the second channel or the first one?
No, because that shows the same thing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we took a power hit on that camera. So we'll have to see what happened there. But once again, we have all these storms moving through the metro. We have one warning that does include Scott County and parts of Carver County. The worst of it has moved through Carver County at this point. We're really seeing the heaviest rain moving into areas near Eagan and also close to Lakeville. So get ready for that. For Mankato right now, we're not seeing too much. Oh, we have a new warning too. Let me go to Mankato. Let me finish my thought on Mankato. In Mankato right now, we have no warnings at the moment. The storms are still well to your north. And assuming that they move to the east at around 25 to 30 miles an hour, there's your times to arrival. We're still looking like less than an hour away, about 40 minutes away or so, until that storm moves into your area. So we still have a little ways away until the storm moves in to your neighborhood. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that.
Okay, something just in from the National Weather Service. We have a confirmed gust of about 60 miles an hour over the Flying Cloud.
Oh, Flying Cloud Airport. Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so that warning verified. The warning that we had for the Southwest Metro around Eden Prairie and into Chaska, we had a gust to 60 miles an hour. Can you tell Belinda that?
Sure.
In the studio? Yeah, she'll want to know that. I'm not sure if she saw that or not. So that'd be great. Thanks, James. So we're getting high wind gusts now from these storms. No storm report popping up yet on our screen, but that was from Flying Cloud Airport, so in the Southwest Metro. Here's the new warning for the Southern Metro. This goes until 6:45. The main threats for this warned storm will be for the high wind gusts of 60 miles an hour and also the possibility for some hail. The hail hasn't been a huge issue so far, at least what I've seen across our area. I have not seen any reports yet of size of hail. So we're looking forward to seeing what happens if there is any hail. I'm not super worried about the hail though tonight. It's more of a wind event tonight. Not super widespread, but once again, we just did get a gust. Here's that storm moving across the South Metro. And you can see some of the spots ahead of that line. So in Eagan right now, it's really going to be picking up here at this point. Expect those high wind gusts, and Cottage Grove as well at around 6:20. For the North Metro, it's looking pretty good. We still have some very heavy rainfall right now, moving through Brooklyn Park and Anoka. Let me look at my. Let me see how much rain we've gotten here in the KARE 11 backyard since this thing has begun. We have seen, and I should put a link on this in my Facebook page later on of our backyard weather station here. We've seen an inch of rain in the KARE 11 backyard since this has begun, and we're still seeing the heavy rainfall coming down right now in our area. The North Metro, we've seen 1.4 inches of rain, even close to 2 inches I heard in White Bear Lake. So some very heavy rainfall right now coming through. We need the rain. Don't need it coming down this hard, but we need it still for our area. In Stillwater, very heavy rainfall right now. Probably not seeing any hail. There may be some pea-sized hail, but I'm not seeing hail being the big threat. It's mostly just the heavy rain, thunder, and lightning that's moving into your area right now. Look at all the lightning. Wow. Let me make it a little bit smaller here so we can see what's going on. So there's a look at the lightning in just the last 2 hours, how it's progressed with that leading edge of the storm. We have 2 warnings right now in place. These storms are moving to the east at about 30 miles an hour, and we're seeing the strongest rain right now and the heaviest rain really over St. Paul. Western Wisconsin, no warnings right now into western Wisconsin, but certainly you're going to see some very heavy rainfall moving into your areas across western Wisconsin. Let's give you a time to arrival here for the northern parts of our viewing area in western Wisconsin. You can see into Tainter close to 7 o'clock, Colfax at 7:10. Further to the south, these storms are still a little bit of a ways away, so we have a little bit of a longer time to go before they move into spots. But here you can see some of your neighborhoods in your area as the storm races to the east at around 25 to 30 miles an hour. Prescott right around 7:10 or so. So that's what we're seeing as the storm moves to the east. A lot of people affected and a lot of people ahead of the storm, so that's what we're looking forward to in the next little bit. Maybe we'll see some warnings with that. That is a possibility. We could see some high wind gusts on the leading edge of the storm. The storm moving into Baldwin right now near New Richmond. We're not seeing any severe weather with that. A lot of thunder and lightning and heavy rainfall, but that's it. We're not seeing any high wind gusts in excess of 60 miles an hour. There could be some wind gusts 35 to 40 miles an hour, but I'm not seeing wind gusts around 60 or 70 miles an hour. That's not looking too likely at this point. Getting windy in Lakeville, thank you for that. More storms tonight. Yes, there will be more storms tonight, Matthew. So we're going to see some more thunderstorms throughout the overnight hours and then into tomorrow as well. If you have any reports of how much rain you've seen or any hail, let me know. No hail reported in Stillwater. Thanks for that, Pam. That's good to know. So we're seeing good conditions, just that high wind gust, though, in the Flying Cloud Airport area in the Southwest Metro. The Twins game may be delayed. Could see an issue with that. The game begins in about an hour, so that could be an issue for tonight. Thank you for that compliment. I appreciate that. My 14-year-old daughter wants to walk to the store in Coon Rapids. She's mad because I won't let her out. Okay, well, Michelle and your daughter, listen to me very carefully. In Coon Rapids, it is not a good idea to walk to the store right now because you are under a chance to see some very high winds and also some heavy rainfall too. We have that all across the metro right now, in the North Metro and in the South Metro. It's not a good idea to do that. Now, into Coon Rapids specifically, while it is raining a little bit lighter in your area, we still have a zone of some very heavy rain that is moving into your spot. You can see that's going to move into Coon Rapids here in the next 6 minutes. And no one wants to walk outside in thunder and lightning and heavy rainfall. While I can kind of see how it's kind of fun once in a while, it's not a good idea. It's not safe, especially walking to the store through a parking lot where you have a better chance to be hit by lightning than if you were inside a building. So stay inside, stay safe. It's not worth it. There's nothing at the store that's worth it right now that you need to walk outside. You would definitely regret it. Exactly, Dylan. Not worth it. In Brainerd, Scott, nothing. We're not going to see any of these storms tonight. It's going to be quiet. All of these storms right now are in southern Minnesota. Here's a look at the last 2-hour loop as the storms have been moving to the east. We do have some very intense rain and intense lightning right now across southwestern Minnesota. It looks like there's a flash flood warning right now for areas that don't need any more rain for Lyon and Murray County. Let me look at the details on that flash flood warning here. Let's load that up. The flash flood warning for Lincoln, Lyon, Murray, Pipestone County until 8:30 tonight. We're seeing rainfall amounts of 1 to 2 inches per hour, but the problem is everything's so saturated there is that you could see some problems. In Mankato right now, I haven't talked about your area too much. I know I have not because there's not any severe weather in your area. The storms are still well to your north, and they're about an hour away. They're still a long ways away, so we're still looking okay. But once again, about 7 o'clock, you should see some storms moving through your area in Mankato. For the South Metro into Owatonna, we haven't really seen much in terms of the storms getting too close to your area. But in terms of them arriving, 7, 8 o'clock, 7:50, 8 o'clock or so, you can see for some of those areas, some of your areas. So that's what we're seeing at this point. It looks like that one guy is typing in the chat. That's really hard to read. We have there's a weather chat that I'm looking at here. It's essentially the National Weather Service. They post out the warnings. We get the information, and someone has text that's black on red. It's really hard to read. So that's what I'm talking about. Heavy rainfall.
Heavy rainfall report.
from Anoka.
1.4 inches a mile north of the intersection of 35 West and Lexington Avenue.
Okay. Oh, Anoka County, and he's also mentioned 1.25. Okay. Yeah, and in North Metro, I've seen reports from Brooklyn Park around 1.3. So we're getting about the same amounts of rain in from that area. I've only seen one report from White Bear Lake. I hope I can get a couple more, but we're going to see a good chance for some very heavy rainfall from this leading edge of the storm and maybe overnight, because it's not just going to be the storms for right now. Let me show you the next 12 to 18 hours. This is what we're going to see overnight tonight. So we have this leading edge of storms moving through right now, but then look at this. This is around midnight tonight. Another zone of rain moves right over the metro. So we're going to see continuous heavy rainfall going into overnight hours and even into tomorrow morning. This is tomorrow morning when you're probably getting up, getting ready for work at 7 o'clock. Thunder and lightning. I'm not expecting severe weather, but look at how it continues into tomorrow morning. So it's not going to be done by tomorrow morning. It'll continue tomorrow even until lunch. So this is going to be a long duration rain event where we will see a good chance for several inches of rain in a couple areas if these storms train over the same spots. So the leading edge, maybe 1 or 2 inches, didn't seem like it's too bad, but overall this could be 3 to 4 inches. I don't see that how that could be too out of the question with this line of storms moving in. Any more rain for the Mora area? No, maybe some light showers right now, but I'm not expecting any severe weather or downpours into Mora. So thankfully, Krista, looks like we're looking at that moving out. I saw someone ask, oh yeah, I'm going to call this out. This is good. I saw someone ask about why don't dogs like, oh, Dylan's making a joke. Okay, there's a joke. Dylan's saying, why don't dogs like to walk during a thunderstorm? I saw that earlier and I was just thinking to myself as I was talking. And then the reply is because they might step in a poodle. That's a good one. I like that. Need a little humor right now with the storms moving through. But in all seriousness, though, let's focus back in on the severe weather, because there is a chance for some severe weather moving through the South Metro right now. For areas close to Eagan, south of Burnsville, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning. This warning goes until 6:45. For areas in Hastings, we're not in a warned part of the storm, but that'll be around 7 o'clock. Rosemont at 6:30. In Vermilion at 6:48. Oak Grove at 7:11. So this is the leading edge of this storm. We've seen one wind gust to 60 miles an hour. That was in the Chaska area, in Eden Prairie area, close to Flying Cloud Airport. So we've already seen a high wind gust come out of the southwest metro. And we may see another one, as we do have the potential for that with the storm that is warned. Now what I'm looking at here is I'm looking at something called velocity. It shows us what the winds are doing in the atmosphere and what the winds are doing inside the storm. And you can see how it's estimating the winds are around 39, close to 40 miles an hour for maybe the gusts. So I'm not seeing too impressive of gusts. Maybe a 46 right there north of Lakeville. So we could see some high wind gusts coming through areas near Lakeville here. So I'm looking at the colors. The brighter the color of red, the higher the wind gust might be. So that's what I'm seeing here. Maybe some high wind gusts ahead of the leading edge of the storms. Tons of lightning right now. And, of course, some very heavy rainfall coming down right now, too, through the Twin Cities metro. Here's a look at the last 2 hours. Once again, here's a look at where we are right now with the storms moving through the Twin Cities metro. A little bit more activity right here in this zone, it looks like, near Inver Grove Heights and Westcott, and into Pine Bend as well. We have some heavy rainfall coming down and some really intense thunder and lightning too, I'd imagine. This is all moving to the east at around 25 to 30 miles an hour. And once again, this is going to make your commute home very slow. So expect this to continue across our area for the next couple of hours, because we'll likely see more storms move through around midnight tonight and then even into tomorrow morning as well.
I think Roberta had a really good question. Where do the viewers send severe weather pictures?
That's a great question. You can post the pictures right on our Facebook page. You can email us, any one of us as well. You can email me to my work email or KARE 11, news at kare11.com. You can use that, or me, JEDMONDSON, my last name, at kare11.com. or tweet us. Use the hashtag KARE11weather. There's a bunch of ways. But send us an email, put it on our Facebook page, tweet us. That all works. That'll work just fine. Hello from Seminole, Florida. Hello. Just as humid. I think it's more humid here than it is in Florida right now.
As it used to be.
Yeah, it used to be. Yeah, exactly. The dew point was really high earlier. 76 was it?
76, heat index of 108 in the metro area.
Yeah.
A little bit cooler now.
Yeah, that's hot. No thanks. I am looking forward to the cooler weather, for it to cool down. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any updates on here. Whoops. I just cleared that out. Oh, wow. That's pretty interesting. This is from a viewer that sent this in. Yeah, let me see if I can rotate this and put this on the feed here. Let's see. Camera to camera, camera to phone. Look at this.
Wow.
That's the
manhole.
yeah, the manhole cover getting blasted out. Let me replay it one more time for you here. Look at that. So that's the water coming up out of the ground right now. I don't know where this is from, but that's pretty crazy. So, wow. Let's go back to radar. Let me show you what's going on with the warned storms. We have 2 warnings in place. One will expire here in the next 13 minutes. We also have another one that goes until 6:45 for areas in the south and south metro mostly. The main threats will be for high wind gusts in excess of 60 miles an hour and also possibly some large hail as well. I'm not seeing anything in St. Cloud area right now. You did have some activity earlier. There may be some overnight showers, maybe some thunder, but I'm not seeing any severe weather into St. Cloud. In Mankato right now, you're looking pretty quiet, but the storm is starting to move a little bit closer. It should move in less than an hour, about 45 minutes away. It's about 25 miles away from Mankato right now to your west. We have 2 warnings in the Twin Cities Metro. I'm going to keep a close eye on these. Belinda is on the air right now with an update on the storms. We actually have that video from our former reporter Dylan Wollenhouse on the air too. So we're going to continue to watch all of these storms, and I'll let you know if there are any changes as these move through the metro. But once again, in terms of this first line of storms moving out of the metro, we'll probably see this come to an end. This is the end at times in the next few hours here. Lakeville, it'll end in the next hour and a half. Hastings in the next probably 2 hours. Ellsworth a little bit longer than that. But for much of the Twin Cities, it should come to an end in the next 30, 45 minutes or so. We'll see the heavy rain come to an end. But the leading edge of the storm, in terms of where it's going to pick up for many areas, this is when it's going to begin. Ellsworth around 7 o'clock, Menominee at 7:20, Red Wing around 8 o'clock. So that's the times to arrival for it to begin. So we're looking at the threat for some high winds for the South Metro. Probably not hail, maybe some small hail. Heavy rain, though, is coming with it, too. Stay safe, everybody, into the evening. I'll do another one of these here if we need to, as conditions warrant, maybe in the next little bit. But Belinda's on the air right now with a storm update, so tune in and stay safe through the rest of the night.